Sharing the live stream. See if we're coming up. I'm ready to hit play, and here we are. Okay.
So you wanna be
And it's not sharing. There we are.
cookie, handy with the ink and set, looking real cool and fine. Casting you faking it. So you wanna be lonely girl.
Hey, hey, hey. So you want to be? Here we are, Bonnie D and Sherry M. I wasn't going to do that, but here we are. It's still playing because there's a lag on live stream. It's a Saturday. Sherry, do you think anybody is watching us live or is everybody taking a snooze today? What do you think?
I don't think anyone's watching us live. I think we're good.
But we look so good and we're so live. We should be watched live. Sherry M, how have you been?
I've been okay. How about you?
Well, I'm fine, except I had a law of attraction moment yesterday, and you know what it is, but you don't know how I'm interpreting it. We were having stormy weather here in Loudon, Tennessee, and you don't live here, and I'm not sure where you live or how far away you are. I didn't know what your weather was, but some of my neighbors got together on a group chat, okay, on text chat. And they were saying, "Oh, it's raining and we needed the rain so badly. And I hope that the plants are surviving and the lawns are looking terrible and all that." And I added to the chat, I hope we don't lose power because I have a live radio show to do with my colleague and friend Sherry in about a half hour, and I'm hoping. And they said to me, "Oh, relax. It's okay. You worry too much," because they have no idea what I do. They're all retired and they're not tech people. So about 20 minutes later, I get a text from Sherry, and you said, "My power is out. A semi truck drove into the power lines." And I thought, Sherry, was that law of attraction? What do you think? Did I bring that on to you? I'm
Yeah, you
sorry.
did. You had to. You had to. It was crazy. Yeah. Tractor
I am.
trailer didn't make the turn into the drive, which it's a relatively new U-Haul place. So I'm wondering, like, did anybody think about that when they were building the place and planning the driveways?
No, obviously not.
Whatever.
They needed a good engineer. Well, Sherry, on all of my radio shows, my Technology Revolution and my Read My Lips, and a show I did for you I think I did for Rising, I did is I asked ChatGPT to write a little poem for me for my opening monologue, and I haven't done that. This is our seventh episode of We Dish, Two Saucy Dames.
Wow.
I know, I can't believe it, and I love it too. I love the chat, and people seem to enjoy what we're doing. So, just before you join me today here on our live stream, I asked ChatGPT, and I didn't edit this one. I just said, "Here's a little opening for this new show I'm doing with my friend Sherry. Could you please write me an opening monologue poem?" And within a flash of 1.5 seconds, it returned the following. So I'd like to read it. Okay, here we
Okay,
go.
go.
You know us well, Bonnie D and Sherry M. Seasoned in business, a dynamic duo gem. From LinkedIn's halls to social's embrace, we share tech and strategies, leaving our trace. But now on We Dish, we're here to play, lightening up life in a fun, fresh way, chatting on culture, wacky news we adore, music, food, and laughter, and oh, so much more. No politics here, just joy and delight. Join us live or on demand, day or night. Meet us for real with your questions in tow. Comments are welcome, just keep them in flow. So tune in, engage, let's laugh and connect on We Dish. It's fun you'll never expect. Bonnie D and Sherry M, your two TOO Saucy Dames. Together we'll dish in life's joyous games. What do you think? Is that a bravo, Sherry?
That's a bravo.
Yeah.
I'll give it to AI.
I have never had such a perfect poem because I'm always editing the ones it does from my other shows and my guest verses in them. I've never had one that perfect.
It's
Seriously.
crazy. How long did that one take for them to write? For it?
Less than 2 seconds. Less than 2 seconds.
That's crazy.
I know. I know. This was one of the best ever. So there we go. So now we've had a proper AI introduction. Sherry, our topics for we have to tell people who we are. You go first.
Hey,
25 words.
I'm Sherry Meyer, and I am an HR tech enthusiast, an executive leader, a corporate communications head, and I've been in the SAP ecosystem for a long time, primarily focused on HR. And that's how Bonnie and I got to meet through SAP.
You know what? I forgot to hit record. I'm going to hit record right now. We'll have the live stream anyway. Okay, good. So I'm sorry about that. I was so excited about the video. Sherry, I'm a live radio and podcast creator, producer, host, storyteller, playwright, artist, drummer, poet, creator of the 3 Minute Soundbite Roundtable, early woman in tech, former stand up, just trying to be funny sitting down now. How's that?
It's good. It's good.
It's good. We'll have the live stream video, not a problem. Okay, today's topic. Three songs. I sent you a list of songs, and you're welcome to add your own. Three songs that describe, or four songs describe you as a saucy dame. Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun, The Young Rascals Groovin', Donna Summer She Works Hard for the Money, or Last Dance. Hit Me With Your Best Shot, Pat Benatar, ABBA's Dancing Queen, Mercy Me, Happy Dance, Annie Lennox Walking on Broken Glass, The Clash's Rock the Casbah, Madonna's Material Girl, Bill Medley from Dirty Dancing, I've Had the Time of My Life, Wham's Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, or Aha's Take on Me. Sherry, what are your three?
Wow. That's an amazing list. That's an amazing list. What I was listening to was how many of those were female performers and how many were male performers.
Yeah.
Yeah, more female than male. So
Yes.
yeah. Um, I okay, so I love all of those. I was like bopping along, singing them in my head. One that I really like right now, Bonnie, that I feel like describes me and what I've always wanted. And this isn't brand new, but it's by the Highway Women and it's called Crowded Table. Have you heard that? Brandy
No,
Island Brand.
no.
Yeah, it's I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone.
Oh,
And I've always wanted that. I've always wanted a big family. And, when I got divorced and I couldn't have the bigger family myself, I expanded it by bringing in friends and as distant relatives. And I always had a full house. I love that.
any of these songs also describe you? Girls Just Want to Have Fun, or
Girls
Hit
just
Me With
want to have fun for sure. You have to write them down the list again if I have to go through them again. She was
Groovin'.
for the money, the nine to
Yeah.
five.
Yep, 9 to 5, definitely. Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Rock the Casbah.
I'm not really crazy about that one, but I see your point. I see what you like.
My three were She Works Hard for the Money. Donna Summer, I'm a disco girl. So, yes, I was teaching and exhibiting disco back in the day. So, She Works Hard for the Money. Yes, I have. Dancing Queen, ABBA, I'd like to think, even though I only came in third in the Disco Hawaii contest in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh,
And I've had the time of my life. It's not over, but I have had the time of my life. So,
so
there you
Eugene, Oregon had a disco contest. That in
Oh,
itself,
yeah. We had a nightclub called the Copa. The Copa. Seriously,
wow.
seriously. Yes, and
New
my
Eugene,
my my
Oregon
go
was still hopping.
oh, it was we had a lot of discos back in the day there. I had a class, I taught a disco line dance class and 250 people signed up, Sherry, in a high school cafeteria.
No, that was fun. I did some disco classes too. I mean, at that point, everybody wanted to dance again, and you wanted to dance with a partner because that it wasn't just the single dancing anymore. It was like what you could do with turning and spinning and yeah,
Well, these were all
so
line
that's
dances. So
fun.
these were all group and that was so we had about 15 different dances we taught. And by the end of 10 weeks, we had over 175 people were still left out of 250. And I consider that a huge success. What do you
That is
think?
huge. And still today, there are a number of line dances that there's not, I don't know, there's since COVID, there haven't been many places coming back with doing dance lessons like that. But the interesting thing is you go to a wedding or something and it just unites people. Like
Yeah,
at a
it
wedding, you're
does.
there with a bunch of people you don't know and you just start following each other in the line dance on the floor.
It does. And I'll tell you, when I was just getting into disco, and I'm not going to give any years, but you can figure it out. I was spending the summer in Massapequa, Long Island. I was a new divorcee. I had two young kids, and my kids and I went to visit my parents at their summer house. And I discovered in a shopping center about 10 minutes from the house, there was a disco slash bar called Swingles, and
Swingle.
they had a raised dance floor where you had to go upstairs, and it had a little like a fence around it, and you could see everything. It was a spotlight, it was a stage basically in the middle of this place, and line dances had just started, and people knew them well, and the women were wearing dresses, skirts, the men were had cool sport shirts on, and I sat there at the bar drinking my soda. I wasn't much of a drinker, and I was driving, and I watched these incredible line dances. And that's when I got hooked on the idea of not just doing them. And later on, when I went back home to Eugene, I found somebody to teach them with me. But they were so beautiful and they were done with such style, Sherry, and such class that it was as though they were partners, not in a partner dance, dancing their part.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. These were not just, okay, jump up and down and 4 steps to the left. I mean, they were
Yeah.
dancers. And I fell in love. And I started, we didn't have online back in those days, but I fell in love and I kept going back and just sitting there going, what just happened here? All of those nicely dressed people are up on this stage, up in the middle of this place, and they're doing these beautiful dances. It was magical. It was really magical.
You were lucky you had your mom to help out with the kids.
Well, my mom and dad were, yeah, well, it was just a 2 week vacation, but oh yeah, I decided I needed to get out of the house
Yeah.
at night. So it was a lot of fun, but the dancing was it was magical. That's all I can say. And then
Dancing is
that,
magical. Music
yep.
is magical.
Speaking of magical, 4 seasons, spring, summer, winter, fall. What are you? What's your favorite and your least favorite season?
This is hard. I think summer might be my favorite, and primarily because the kids are off from school. It's just a fun time. As far as weather goes, it's not, I don't love the humidity, but I think summer just feels more fun. Yeah.
And what's your least favorite?
That's a tough one. Probably spring when it's just very windy. Like spring always sounds like it should be nice, right? But it's not. It's tricky. It can be really windy and rainy, and you can't predict what you should wear. It can be hot in the morning and freezing cold in the afternoon. It's too unpredictable.
Okay. I think winter is my favorite, and it has been since I was a child. When I was a little
Really?
girl, I used to go out with a snowsuit on and go next door to my older neighbors, and they were elderly when I was growing up, the Laffertys on the corner, and I used to shovel their driveway when I was about 10 years old. Nobody asked me, nobody paid me. I didn't ask for any money. I just decided they needed help and I shoveled their drive. I just love to be outside in the winter. I just loved it. And I find winter magical. We don't get much snow here in Tennessee, but the cold, to me, it's an adventure season, even though I don't go out that much. For some reason, as long as the electricity's working, the heat is on. The other season you mentioned is spring, and I love spring because I'm living here in this beautiful house with, I call it 4 yards. I'm on a corner property, so I have a front yard, a side yard, and a back and another yard. And the plants, the trees are regenerating and regrowing.
Especially where you live. Yeah. That
Oh,
would be
and
beautiful.
I have almost what they would call a specimen garden that the former owner, Charlie, planted. And I will tell you, I have two magnificent hibiscus trees right now, and they came up about 2 weeks ago. They're late bloomers. The blossoms are about 8 to 12 inches in diameter. One of them stands straight up, and I have a rose bush somebody planted right in the middle of what turned out to be the hibiscus because you can't tell in the winter. It's just a bunch of white sticks on the ground, and then it just grows magically. So the pink roses are growing I'll send you a picture, among the red hibiscus. The other plant farther down in the border lies down. Sherry, it doesn't stand up. So all of the flowers are on their side and they're draping over into the gravel easement where people park right in front of the house. It's the strangest thing. The crepe myrtles haven't started to bloom yet, but they're getting there. The crabapple tree is looking like it's going to. The snowball philodendrons are a couple of flowers because we had a brutal winter a year ago and that really killed them off. The
Yeah.
knockout roses are just growing and growing and growing. I have huge trees here and and the lilies are blooming.
I
It's
was going
great.
to ask you if when you bought the house, if you saw everything in bloom, but then I remembered you bought it sight unseen.
I bought it on Zoom. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
But were the flowers blooming when you saw the pictures on Zoom?
I don't know what year the pictures were taken, actually. I, I don't think so. I had no concept of what
That
this
wasn't
place
like
looked like.
a
No,
yeah, tipping point for buying.
if I had known there was this much yard work to do and this much gardening, it probably would have deterred me. But I was so determined to buy something after falling through on three or four because it was a very competitive market 2 years ago,
Yeah,
extremely competitive. And I was getting edged out of house after house after house. And I had the realtor from hell and I just wanted to be done. So I bought a house.
Let's not mention that realtor's name.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'll tell you later, but it was an odd name that go went with the personality. Anyway, let's go to our next topic. Wild, crazy, wacky headlines. What are you have top three for me today?
Well, I have some cute ones too.
Go ahead.
Did you see that a postal worker saved the day for a little girl at camp?
No, tell us.
Summer camp, kids go to summer camp, they have projects. They had the kids write postcards as a project, and little girl wanted to send it to her grandmother because her grandmother had sent her a postcard for when she was away. Drew it herself, put it in the mail, forgot the stamp. And somehow one of the counselors noticed it. And so to rescue the day, put a note in another Canada Post mailbox, hoping someone would pick it up and see it, attached a stamp and explained what happened, and said, if you happen to see the postcard, would you send it back to us so we can handle it, or just use the stamp and forward it? And they did. That's crazy, right? I mean, someone found it along the way and then sent it. And then the other one I thought was really cute was, if you're going to Boston, which I haven't been to Boston in so long, they have put googly eyes on the front of their trains and they are adorable.
I saw
It's
that.
so silly, but it's just fun, when you're having a bad day or you're not having a bad day. It's just good to see people being silly and having fun. Now, last night I was out at one of Chelsea's gigs and it was a sports place. So they had 20 TVs around the perimeter. And I was watching this team. I don't know if it was minor league or what. I have to look it up today, but they were the Bananas.
Bananas.
They had yellow. I love yellow, so they had yellow uniforms. So I love that. But they were hysterical. They were dancing on the fields and doing all kinds of silly things. And I thought, how great is that to just have fun without rules?
Wouldn't it be nice? We don't have rules here, do we? We just don't
No,
talk politics or dirty red words.
I can't talk politics.
No, we can't. Okay, I have a couple. I have four actually. I'll make these brief. I don't know how long we've been going here. A toothless dog called Wild Thang won the world's ugliest dog contest.
Oh,
It's a 14-year-old pug with let's see, 14-year-old pug with one eye. Yes, he beat everybody. Okay. The crowd erupted in cheers as Wild Thing, an 8-year-old Pekingese, was hoisted into the air after several unsuccessful attempts. At last, he won the world's coveted ugliest dog contest. Let's see now. In Petaluma,
coveted?
California, the purpose is to celebrate imperfections. There's the
Oh,
life
I love
lesson
that.
and advocate for animal adoptions. The contest has been a testament that the pedigree does not define the pet. Okay.
That's so true.
The contest started 50 years ago as part of a 4-day fair, which features a carnival, a car show, farm Olympics, and more. Almost 40,000 people showed up. He,
Wow, where is
he,
that?
it says in Petaluma. He beat Rome, who is a 14-year-old pug with one eye, and Moki, a 9-month-old Chihuahua Jack Russell Terrier with a major underbite, all blah, blah, blah. And listen to this. Wild Thing contracted something called distemper, a serious contagious canine disease as a puppy. He survived because he had been vaccinated. But the virus affected his teeth. His teeth never grew in, his tongue stick out, and they named him
Oh,
Wild Thing, and he has crazy hair like Einstein. The concert contest, you ready for this? Is sponsored by Mug Root Beer.
really?
Mug, Mug, yes.
Bug?
As number one, Wild Thing won $5,000.
Okay, first of all, brilliant on Mug's part.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two headline is a little, well, you know what? A woman on a plane thought she saw a couple cheating and she took a video and posted it and it went
Oh my
viral
God.
because they were flirting and they went to the bathroom together and on the plane and it's been rebuttals all over the place. And she posted it with their names because they were talking and giggling so loud. And yes, I know, I know.
It's such an
The
invasion of privacy.
That's exactly right. Surveillance and privacy. And a woman in Brooklyn named Tamika Turner calls herself pretty critical, posted a rebuttal criticizing people cheering the video and digging for personal details about the man and his family. But here's the point. Brooke Erin Duffy, an associate professor of communications at Cornell University, who researches social media, called this phenomenon imagined surveillance. The feeling that anything you do at any time, Sherry, no matter how benign, could be recorded and used against you. Inter-
100%.
Interesting. Now, here's a third headline. Japan finally phased out floppy disks. Finally, floppy disks. It's 2024. One of the world's most technologically advanced nations has held on to some of the most outmoded devices. Japan scrapped every regulation requiring the use of floppy disks for administrative purposes this week, catching up to the times 13 years after their producers manufactured the last floppy disks.
So they did
Interesting.
it because it was part of their economy.
It's regulated for certain industries. While renowned for its consumer electronic giants, robots, some of the world's fastest broadband networks, the country has been wedded to floppy disks and other technologies, like still using fax machines and cash. You ready for this? All the regulations have been reviewed by lawmakers, undergone public comment, been voted on, and struck down. The last standing rule was related to the recycling of used vehicles and was repealed this past June 28th. Most of the Japanese textile industries in the section of Kyoto that makes things like kimonos has not updated its technology since adopting floppy disks in the 1980s. Each day, Higo, Higo Bank, a regional financial institution on the island of Kyushu, processes nearly 300 floppy disks weighing in at 10 pounds. The bank has tried to persuade clients still using the disk to store their bank account information to switch formats, telling them it would stop accepting them this spring. There wasn't any risk of getting hacked, they said. Now we have to be careful about data
Oh,
security. There you go. And one
that's
more headline. Do you know who invented pretzels?
no. But isn't
Monks,
that a Pennsylvania Dutch thing?
Catholic monks. At the
Really?
beginning of the Middle Ages, according to legends, most historians trace the origin of the pretzel to 610 CE in a monastery in either Italy or France, and some scholars believe the twisted shape was meant to resemble children with their arms crossed in prayer. The modern name pretzel is derived from the Old German word brezel, Brezel,
Yes.
which comes from the Latin brachiatus, which translates to little folded arms. And here's some statistics. The weight in pounds of the largest pretzel ever made is 1,728 pounds. The percentage, here you go, of all U.S. pretzels produced in the United States are in Pennsylvania. 80% are produced in Pennsylvania. The age in years of the oldest pretzel bakery in the United States is 162 years old. And the pounds of pretzels that the average Philadelphia resident eats annually is 12 pounds.
Wow.
Those are my
That's my
statistics for
neck of the woods, and I love pretzels. So
There you go. Do you like the salted kind you buy from the street vendors, the big soft
I
ones?
do. I do. Primarily because when you smell them when you walk by, it's like hot dogs, smelling hot dogs when you walk by, you have to have one. And it's not great, but the smell draws you in. I
Do
like
you
those new pretzel bites that they're making too.
do you dip your hot pretzels in mustard?
Worse cheese.
Oh my, melted or how do you dip it in cheese?
Don't you guys do that? Yeah.
I don't know what you guys do. I'm in Tennessee. I'm a transplanted New Yorker. Did you have a good July 4th?
Yeah, I did. We hung out at my ex's swimming pool, which is a story we'll have to tell sometime about my ex, and with the kids and the grandkids, and it was very relaxing and fun.
Nice. And I painted. Let me show you some of the things
Here,
I
let's
didn't
see.
s- I'm let's see. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes, this is paint pouring with acrylics, and this is my experiment on creating some kind of flowers. And I have another one here. They're sticking together. I bought
Now, where did
another
you learn to do
40.
this, Bonnie?
What's that?
Where did you learn to do this?
I follow a lady from the south coast of Australia named Gilly Cube, Gillykube. And she posts a video every day of her artwork teaching paint pouring. There's also somebody named Fiona, Fiona, Fiona Art. And there are a whole bunch of people. And I'm learning, following along, learning the techniques. This is one of my favorites. There's that red flower. Can you see that?
Yes,
And what you do with
that's you.
paint pouring, you don't use brushes. You use straws, you use string, you use balloons, and you pour
Object.
any object and you pour your paint and then on in layers or from a cup, and then you tilt the canvas and then you use a straw to blow out the petals of the flower,
Oh,
or you
neat.
use silicone drops of silicone oil that will create what they call little cells where the paint separates into, they call it lacing, and little open cells in the colors, and the colors blend like mosaics, and it's just
Oh, how
beautiful, like
fun.
Paisley. So I just bought another 40 canvases. I already have about 250 pictures all over my house. I've been doing this for about 8 years now, and I love the paint pouring because it's freedom, Sherry. It's freedom.
Yeah,
And then you fill a balloon with a little bit of water, different size balloons, and you press it into the wet paint, and it leaves an impression, and it creates the idea of flowers. So these are on the bottom here. Those were done with the balloon pressed into the
okay,
silver, metallic, and the blue. And then this one was a pour. The red flower was a pour, and you let it dry. Use a heat pen sometimes or a hair dryer, and you blow them out. And it's I'm experimenting, so I'm in my new experimental phase. I have a whole. I took the sunroom here and turned it into an art studio. So that's what I was doing, having a
very
lot of fun.
nice.
Yeah, Sherry, this is always so much fun to visit with you. And if anybody's wondering why TOO is spelled two is spelled TOO instead of TWO, you want to tell them why?
Because we're two exceptionally saucy, not two.
What kind of sauce are we, though? Are we barbecue sauce? What are we?
You know what, Bonnie? It really depends on the day.
I think
Sometimes I'm a little spicy. Sometimes I'm, just sweet as can be.
I echo your emotion. That was perfect. I have to get ChatGPT to put that in the poem for next week. Sherry, this has been so much fun. Don't go away. We'll talk after. Let's wave goodbye to everybody. I'm
Bye,
not going to play
everybody.
any music or anything. Thank you. Let me stop the streaming, stop the recording, and stop the streaming. Bye, social. It